Where? What is this?
It's the ghost.
What is this? What is this? Why is there a ghost here? What is going on with this ghost? Amanda's disconnected. Where did she go, ghost?
Hi.
Oh, there she is.
Here I am.
She's back. But that's cool. The ghost said that you got disconnected.
Yeah.
But now you're back.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's good to have you back.
Thanks.
Good to have you back, man.
Cheers, friend.
Cheers.
Welcome to the
And
bar,
welcome to the
friends.
Welcome to the bar, everybody. On a lovely day today.
Well, that's delicious.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Woo!
And your ghost is amazing.
Thank you.
That's a cool stuffy doll that you're rocking there.
His name is Buster.
That's Buster?
This is Buster.
Okay.
And I love him.
That's super cool.
And when I look into his eyes, he makes me happy.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Do you remember the moment that you got Buster?
I do. It was Halloween time last year. I think it was after Halloween, though. I think. It was either right before or just after. And I was doing Halloween hunting for the things.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of awesome Halloween things last year because we had all that shipping crap. And we live in an iceberg. So, yeah. So I was kind of sad because Halloween is my favorite time of year. And it was a little disappointing. And we went to Michael's for something.
Fair. Yeah.
And this little dude was sitting, going towards the cash, and I saw him, and I fell in love with him.
And right from that moment, he became Buster.
He did. And he was the only Halloween thing I bought last year.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes all you need is one of the right things, right?
Yep. I love him.
Absolutely, man. That's super cool. I'm glad that you love Buster. And I'm glad that Buster is an awesome stuffed doll.
He's a ghosty.
Is a ghosty. I know. He's the coolest ghosty that ever ghosted.
Yeah, he is.
Buster is the best ghost of all ghosts.
He's even got a little jack-o'-lantern.
He does have a jack-o'-lantern, and that's pretty cool.
Yep.
It really brings out the fact that he is a ghost because of the jack-o'-lantern. Without that, he could just be a couple marshmallows stuck together.
He could be a marshmallow poof.
He could be a fluffy marshmallow poof. He could be some sort of white alien with big eyes. He could even be a snowman with only two pieces.
He could.
So technically, without the pumpkin there, you know, it really could leave it a little...
Could be some meringue.
It could be some meringue, yeah. It could just be a giant floof of meringue. So without the pumpkin there, I mean, I'm just saying that really ties it in. So
We would have been confused.
Exactly. The pumpkin is almost a necessity to his thing. Because without it, there could have been some confusion there.
Yep.
That's for sure. But he's cool. He's hanging out. And he's helping us get disconnected.
Yeah.
From whatever the things are these days.
We were talking about that today, and we decided that we were going to hold on to the conversation and share it with all y'all.
Yeah, we started to talk about disconnected and like what it even means really in today's time. Like, you know, everybody needs to be disconnected for a while, but the term is very like loose when you talk about disconnected. Like what like you know what I mean? What it means, what it doesn't mean. The term disconnected can mean so many different things in today's day. You know, whether you're talking about technologies or disconnected from something that you usually do as a routine. Sometimes and it all kind of means, you know, the same thing, even if it's a different example, I find. Like disconnected from a routine to go on a vacation or something.
It's
you know
just
what I mean?
stepping away from
It's
something.
just stepping away from things, I think. Yeah. Like disconnecting from stuff or, you know, things you feel like maybe you're attached to or something. Just letting it go for a while. Even if you feel like maybe there's a project that you really want to finish or something, just maybe even giving yourself a day to relax and not rush it.
Yeah.
I think disconnecting to me is just kind of loosely, you know, in that aspect of it, you know. It doesn't mean that you're going to post up like a tent in the middle of nowhere and live there for 30 days.
Maybe to some people it is.
That's exactly what I'm saying, is that it can be so open-ended to what disconnected means. It's a cool conversation, and I mean, it's definitely one that we can take in a lot of different directions.
Yeah, because I think often we use that term when we're talking about technology, we're talking about our phones, we're talking about social media, we're talking about computers, but we don't talk about things like routine or friendships even, or work.
Yeah.
Creative
projects. I think, a good thing that you brought up for sure is friendships. And I mean, a lot of times, people have friends that they might not see for a little while. You're obviously still friends. You just haven't seen them in a bit. Mm-hmm. But you can almost start to feel disconnected from that friend if you haven't seen them in a couple weeks or whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, man, we haven't seen them in a while, or him in a while, or her, or whatever, Mm-hmm. So disconnected in that sense is totally true. Like, your friendships can almost feel disconnected to a certain degree if you're not seeing the, same people that you usually do enough, or, yeah, you can feel disconnected like that, for sure, and I totally agree.
I think there's two ways of that kind of disconnect, too, where there's the conscious disconnection, where you're like, okay, I need to back away from these people for a while because of whatever reasons, and then there's the unconscious disconnect where you're hanging out with these people and you don't feel like you're in the same vibe. I find that is a disconnection too.
Fair. Like, yeah, it might not be the best situation, or yeah, it might just be a weird vibe, or whatever you guys are doing might, you might not be into it or something, just kind of disconnected from whatever's going on, I guess,
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that, and I think, like you're saying, when it comes to doing something, I think, yeah, you can be disconnected even from, like, going mini putting or something, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not into it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You can feel like you're just kind of there going through the motions, but you don't really want to be there, you know what I mean? You're just kind of like, like, I don't even want to do this, You're not actually into whatever the thing is that you might be doing, And that probably happens a lot on dates. You think when people go on dates, maybe it's somebody new, somebody that you never met before, and you could just feel disconnected from your date, or like from what you guys are doing, or even if you're just hanging out somewhere or whatever. Yeah. There could be like a sense of that, with dating. I mean, personally, for me, I didn't do like the most amount of dating.
Yeah, me neither.
So I can't really speak from experience on that.
Yeah.
Because I was never like a heavy dater.
No,
I didn't
me neither.
like. Yeah, you either, right?
No,
yeah,
I was not a dater.
I was never a heavy dater, so as far as that aspect goes and being disconnected...
I think I got lucky in that element.
Yeah, being disconnected from a date or something, it's like, I don't know, I don't really have that much, like, firsthand, experience of that, because I never really went on, like, a ton of dates. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I wasn't, like, a heavy dater.
Yeah. But that's a good thing to bring up, though, because I do think a lot of people...
Yeah.
Probably go through dating, especially now, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, I'm not part of the dating scene anymore.
True.
I feel like with online dating, it must be even easier to feel disconnected when you go on an actual date. Exactly.
I kind of agree with you, because, like, you could be disconnected and, like, you're just looking at a profile or something or whatever, and then you go on some actual date or something, and then you expect all this stuff maybe from reading a profile or something.
Or even just like, texting that person.
Yeah, you're messaging, but you've never even seen them in person. And then it's totally different than what you expect or something, or you're disconnected from your expectations even or something like that.
Or what if their voice is really annoying? Like, that could cause you to disconnect, too.
Maybe.
Because you're going to hyper-focus on the annoyance of the voice.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Just a thought.
That's true.
Just a thought.
That's fair, man. I totally see that. And, like, I don't think I've ever had too many times where someone's voice actually bothered me that much. It's pretty rare.
Not in dating, but I've definitely met a few people that I'm like, oh my god, your voice, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess some to other people can sound a little weird. You can almost sound disconnected from someone just speaking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of times, if someone's rambling at you some things and you really don't even want to hear what they're saying, or you're not 100% paying attention, you can almost feel disconnected from just having a conversation.
True.
Like you're not in it, and if the person's voice is annoying, then you're just like, stop talking.
Yeah.
Altogether, you know what I mean?
Like, shoosh.
Yeah.
Shut your face.
Yeah, I never really thought of that, but that's true. And I mean, I think disconnected and disconnecting are like
The same
a little
but
bit
different?
a little bit the same, but a little bit different. I think the word disconnected and disconnecting can be the same but different for sure.
Well, it has the same root word.
To disconnect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're feeling disconnected is more of like a feeling, you know what I mean? Like if you're feeling disconnected,
rather than an action.
Yeah, like I think you can feel disconnected even while you're watching a movie. You know what I mean? Like I'm watching this movie and I really feel disconnected. Like I'm not 100%.
It actually happens to me a lot.
Yeah, like I'm not even 100% into this movie. I might not even be paying attention to it. It's just not really my vibe.
Yeah.
So you can feel disconnected from even just watching a movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think disconnected is like a type of a feeling that we feel sometimes.
Yeah.
You know? That you're just not connected to what is. You know, you're not connected to what you're trying to connect to. You know? I think like that's a pretty heavy feeling sometimes.
And I think in a weird way, sometimes being overly connected can cause those feelings of disconnection.
Yeah?
Yeah, like if you're too up in the news, let's just say, you're too involved.
You're following too much.
Yeah, you're paying attention too much to what's being broadcasted. You might get disconnected from yourself.
Fair. Because you're just too into the noise
It's like that whole output-input
Yeah,
idea.
you're too into the noise of the feedback from some news maybe or something. Maybe something upset you that you saw that happened or something, and then you're just kind of going, you know
or
what
like,
I mean?
Let's just take the famous/infamous trial that just happened between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Oh.
Like,
okay.
99% of the world was invested in this trial.
We were glued.
Well, I wasn't. But a lot of people were. I caught snippets. But...
You were on the highlight reel.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people got so connected to that they disconnected from a lot of other things.
Fair. It was like eyes on that. And then they forgot about everything else. They didn't even do their laundry because they were so invested in it. It's like, I can clean my clothes later. I gotta get updates.
Yeah, I need to watch these hours of trial videos.
Yeah, you can literally be disconnected from the things that you probably maybe should look into to just be super hyper focused on another thing that's got your attention or that you're connected to. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I totally agree with that perspective of it. You know, it's like you can feel disconnected from the things that you usually do because something's bothering you or because you're into something else. And it might feel weird, you know. You might not even know why you're... Nice. Nice. You might not even know why you're disconnected from your usual things that you do or like or whatever. But it's because something else is just grabbing your attention so much.
Yeah, or you're just headed in the wrong direction. I think a lot of the time that happens when you feel disconnected, and it's because you're trying to force yourself into a situation, a position, or whatever that isn't part of your life path.
Yeah, a lot of times that is true too. If you're trying to, just trying to make something happen that's maybe not meant to happen for you, or it's just something that's not going to work out for you, but you're really trying hard, but it's just not meant to be. And you might be kind of questioning, like, why isn't this happening? Why isn't this working out? And, like, you feel kind of disconnected and you're not, like, almost unsure a little bit. But then, like, the reality is down the road, you'll eventually realize, like, you know, maybe that wasn't the thing that was supposed to happen anyway. But at the time, you can feel kind of disconnected with it, that it's not going the way you think, you know what I mean? Yeah, I totally see that, man. I totally see that.
And then there's disconnecting.
Yeah, which is To me, putting things aside.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the only really definition you can give disconnecting.
Mm-hmm.
It's an action.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a feeling, it's an action.
Yeah.
Disconnected is a feeling. Disconnecting is like an action, right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm disconnecting from... I've been playing video games for 2 hours. Like, it's time for me to just do some disconnecting.
It's
and
funny
kind of
because
walk away.
One of the things I brought that helps me to disconnect was
Oh.
video games.
There you go.
And this is something I need to do more of because I can get really invested in things and forget to let go.
Well, yeah.
And I find that playing a good video game really helps me to get out of my own head.
Super Nintendo.
Woohoo!
Super Nintendo rules.
Yep.
Still forever.
Yep. Yeah, it helps me to get out of my head. It helps me to, like, just take a break from whatever it is that I'm hyper focusing on.
Yeah.
And just get lost in a different world.
It's super true, and I feel like the thing about today's time is we have a lot of choices, and I think, ultimately, you're absolutely right. Like, you have to use it in the right way to have some fun, and, it's okay to get disconnected in some video games and play them and enjoy them. You're disconnecting from something that... maybe it was bothering you or whatever, to just play some video games. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there isn't.
It's like, you shouldn't feel bad because, you didn't finish all of your laundry to go play some video games. It's like, you're just disconnecting. You'll finish it later,
Yeah.
You're just taking a break, right?
Yeah.
You're just disconnecting from something, You just want to play some video games for a bit. They shouldn't, make you feel bad.
No, like, maybe while you're doing your laundry, you're super overwhelmed because you were sick and you weren't able to do it for a month. And then you have 4 loads of laundry, and you're trying to do it all in one day.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That can be overwhelming. I've been in that situation.
Super duper, yeah.
And there's no harm in saying, you know what, I need to disconnect from my chores.
Yeah, dude.
And just take a couple hours.
Just play some video games.
And play some video games.
Yeah, so disconnecting is definitely one of those things where... it's not like you're using it as like a tool to ignore something or... put something aside forever and ever and ever, or you're just taking a break from something.
Yeah, because if you use it to become, to leave something aside forever, then you're becoming disconnected.
Exactly. And we can circle around. I love how you can circle around with it. You can go from disconnecting.
I feel like we could make a funky little diagram.
You could do some sort of funky diagram with like some fish or something
some
maybe
arrows,
on it. Some fish swimming in some sort of circle with a few arrows. The disconnecting circle.
Yeah.
Put a steering wheel on it.
A steering wheel.
You could drive the disconnected steering wheel around in circles because it just spins, right?
It's funny.
Maybe you make it into a wheel of cheese. Maybe, eating cheese is a good way to disconnect.
Oh, man. My love-hate relationship with cheese.
Eating cheese, if you want to disconnect and have some snacks.
Snacks are awesome. And that's something that I think people have actually lost is disconnecting while eating. Like a lot of people now, while they're having snacks, are doing something else while having those snacks. Whether it's watching a movie... watching a YouTube video, chatting with their friends, going to a work meeting.
Yeah.
There's another action involved.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that it's really important to disconnect from things while you're eating.
Yeah, we love putting things together.
Yeah.
As people, we love smushing things together. It's hard for us to do one thing at a time a lot of times. We love to eat and watch TV. We love to eat and play video games. We love to eat and play board games, whatever. But we're always putting stuff together. It's hard to separate things.
A lot of the times with food.
Yeah, and food too. I mean, it's around, we gotta eat. So, it's kind of one of those things, right?
Food's cool. I'm cool with food.
But I know what you're saying, though. I know what you're saying. Like... I think if you want to enjoy a snack, it's important to put it aside and just eat it separately. You know what I mean? If you're getting too much in the habit to snacking while you're doing other things, it just turns into something you do. First of all, you're not even going to enjoy the food as much. Second of all, you'll be half distracted with what the other thing is anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to disconnect and figure out what works. But I mean, you know, I don't know. What works for one person is completely different for another person. So
yeah, I mean, these are
there's
things
no
from our own experiences.
This is
right?
just us talking about stuff that we do because you know we all know that. What's working for one person definitely isn't working for another person. So you know, it's all different.
Yep.
But I think what's super important as you get older, to me, is to disconnect from your routines a little bit and try some different stuff.
Which is hard for a human.
It's super hard. It's super hard to do. You know, we all have routines sometimes, some days less than others. But you have to learn to disconnect from some of that to try some different things. And the more that I learn and do that, it helps in so many ways. It's a little challenging.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to admit that it's hard to do, but you're not going to learn new stuff if you're staying in the same block or in the same neighborhood or, you know, just whatever, you know, doing the same stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's just you got to do some different stuff.
Yeah.
Even if it's just going downtown and sitting on a bench for a while, like, and you've never usually done that, it can change your whole perspective of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so you just got to mix it up. Just mix it up.
Or
you know, try a new coffee shop or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Walking a different way than you're used to walking.
There's a lot of trails out there, man. There's a lot of trails. There's a lot of paths to walk down. Life isn't the same path all the time. You got to disconnect from that same path that you're going down and try some loops.
Yep.
You know, jump on that spider web. Just don't get stuck in it.
Be careful with spider webs. That's spider's homes.
Be careful with spider webs. Once you get in a spider web, you may never be able to disconnect from it. So,
or spider molted.
Yeah, talk about that. That's cool. This is super kind of rare-ish.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, spiders molt, but this one doesn't do it too often.
Well, this species apparently does grow fairly quickly.
This spider literally disconnected from itself.
Yes, it did. So
since that's the word of the episode.
Yeah, so because she had been acting funny, like not eating, and her abdomen was really shriveled. And so I was like, okay, maybe she's dehydrated. So I started adding a bunch of water to her terrarium. Like, maybe she's uncomfortable. So I covered half of her terrarium to make sure she was comfortable because they liked it dark.
Yeah, dude.
And then this morning I went to go check on her because I've been checking on her every morning for probably about a week just to see if she was doing better.
Yeah.
And she was being an alien. And I'm like, whoa. And like, when you first see that, you're not sure if they're dead or alive because they look fucked up.
Well, you told me to come over, and I took a look at it, and that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, is this thing, like, normal? It was ballooned out. It looked like, I'm like, that's not normal.
Yeah, it looks like an alien. And, she just... I mean, I'm not going to explain the whole process. Watch a YouTube video. You know, she came out of her old shell and... you know, did her thing, and now she's resting.
It's a pretty cool process.
She's tired.
That the spiders literally come out of their old shell to fall into a new shell. Mm-hmm. It's like a new start for them in life.
Yeah,
it's like a fresh start.
Yeah,
they just kick the can out of their old body and hop into a new one.
Yep, pretty much. You know, it's
so strange.
It's almost okay. This is a really fucked up analogy. But it's almost as if you had an identical twin growing inside of your body, and then your identical twin reached a certain point where it's like, hey, I can't keep growing inside of this body anymore, and it pulls a whole xenomorph moment and, like, bursts out of your chest.
Oof.
And then, like, your identical twin is now you, and you are your... just a skin of yourself. You're a shell of yourself. You've
become a shell of a person.
That's kind of the way I would explain it in, like, human functioning.
Oh, yeah. That's an interesting explanation.
It's funky. But it's true. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And so now she's mushy.
So now, like, she won't do that for another long, long time. Like, that's like a once every several years thing. Depending on where they're at.
Yeah, it depends. I think I think she's getting close to being full grown, so yeah, she probably won't do that again for at least a year, if not more than that.
Super cool.
So, and to be able to catch as much of it as we did is hard to do.
Yeah, I think, like, for me, I never really fully understood the spider's place in all of this thing, but now that we have, like, a spider and we're, learning and taking care of one and stuff.
2?
Yeah, that's 2. We had 1, we have 2 now. We have 2, and when you're learning about them and you're taking care of these spiders and you're so just in what the spider's doing and you're kind of watching it to see what's going on, and then you see how it's eating stuff, like, you learn so much from spiders and their whole place in this kind of... I know that we have them, to take care of in terrariums, but out there in the wild, when you're seeing spiders all over the place, you see what their purpose is and, what they're doing out there, right? So they're hugely populated everywhere because you're always seeing spiders all over the place.
Spiders are all over the planet, probably except for Antarctica.
What's the population? Or I got the wrong question. I'm going to rephrase that. Well, how many species of spiders, without being exact to the specificity of specificness? How many different types of spiders are there? I don't even know. I've never really researched.
I can't answer that question because I don't know.
Yeah, I'm thinking like 10,000. Is that too much?
No, probably not.
There's so many different types. Like, I know there's so many different types.
I think there's 12,000 species of cockroach.
Okay, yeah. And it's crazy.
And tarantulas alone, I know this. Tarantulas, there's 800 species of tarantula.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's just tarantulas. Like, that's a very small percentage of spiders as a whole. Mm-hmm. So I think you're probably not far off with 10,000.
Yeah, I was just a complete guess, but like I'm thinking of all the different types, and I remember looking at some books or some videos of different spiders, and then I don't remember exact numbers and stuff, but that was kind of like a rough guess from what I had seen in the past.
Sure, it's probably more than that, maybe maybe not. I don't know. I'd have to look.
But like sub-branches of subcategories and
that's the thing. It's
things.
Like, are you looking at spiders or are you looking at arachnids? Because it's...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
2 different bubbles, right?
That's what I mean, yeah. It's so true. Like, what is your definition of, the types of species you want to kind of identify, right? I would just put them all into the same... For the sake of...
Arachnids as a whole? Like things with 8 legs as a whole?
Well, I don't know.
I was going to say, you're looking at more than 10,000.
Yeah, that's a tough... Yeah, okay.
Because, like, if you're looking at 8-legged creatures...
that's kind of...
you're looking at spiders, scorpions, ticks.
Yeah. No, I think we're just going to have to stick with spiders.
Yeah.
We won't want to add scorpions in there because that opens up the floodgates to more.
Yeah. I'd have to look it up. I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You remember when that guy was telling us about those scorpions that they went out kind of to do a little tenting night on the rocks?
Yeah.
To look at the stars?
That was in Dinosaur Provincial Park.
And, yeah. It's kind of a cool segue that I just kind of threw in there. But imagine going to disconnect and look at the stars, and then you're just surrounded by these scorpions that are just kind of like looking at you. And you're just there, like, trying to do some tenting, look at the stars, disconnect for a little bit, and then you got scorpions all around you.
It would be cool.
Would you think that they would be coming to bother you, or would they just be hacking around and you just happen to be in the wrong place?
Mostly, they're probably just hacking around. They're probably attracted to your heat and might try to go under your blanket.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So, because they would sense your heat, and then they would come over to you, and then you'd just be hanging out there, and then the scorpions could be around you, and then you could just be like, uh-oh. Mm-hmm. And then there could be, like, scorpions all around, and you're trying to figure out what to do.
Don't roll on top of one.
Don't roll on top of one.
Nope. Don't do it.
Yeah. If you're out tenting and the scorpions are nearby, just don't roll on one.
Just don't roll on it.
It's pretty basic.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty simple.
Scorpion 101. Don't roll on it.
And did they say that you can use the UV light and they glow?
Yeah.
Or did I not remember that right?
No, you remember that right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that all scorpions?
Yeah.
So all scorpions under the UV light glow the purple.
It's like a teal.
It's like a teal, but it's cool nonetheless.
It is cool. Yeah. And people use that when they're hunting for scorpions too. They'll have like mining helmets, but with a UV light instead of a regular light.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That is
Or like
super
if
cool.
you're in a place that has a lot of scorpions in it, like scorpions like to hide in people's shoes. This is a big thing. They love to hide in the toe of your shoe because it's very compact and it's dark, so they feel safe.
Ooh.
So
oh yeah, they just kind of sneak in there.
And there's so many stories of people sticking their foot in their shoe, just not thinking about it.
I'm glad we don't have any around, mostly where we live.
No, there's only one in Canada.
It's not too many that you see around here.
No, there's only one.
Okay.
In Alberta.
That's where we were.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, people just haphazardly stick their foot in their shoe, and then the next thing they know, they get a pinch or a sting from a scorpion.
Ooh.
So a little UV light goes a long way. Shine that bugger in your shoes.
So that's a trick if you live somewhere where there's a lot of scorpions. Stick the UV light in your boot or shoe, and that'll shine it up. And then that way you won't, if you just want to be super careful, because you never know.
Well, I heard it sucks.
Yeah.
I've never personally been stung by a scorpion yet. I'm going to say yet.
Me neither.
I've actually never been stung by anything, which is wild being a bug person.
Yeah.
Like, I've played with bugs my entire life, and I have never been stung.
Yeah, that is strange.
It's weird. It's very weird. I don't know how I avoided it, but I did.
Well, we got a lot of wood, so maybe just knock on it.
Yep.
You've been lucky enough to disconnect yourself from bites.
No stings.
Or stings. Stings. Let me rephrase that. Stings. Insect stings.
Yeah, I've definitely been bit.
Yeah, we won't go into that.
Nope.
That's another story for another time.
That is.
Animals.
Yep. See, I even have my bug shirt today because bugs.
Oh, nice.
My whole thing, I thought about how I disconnect from things.
Okay.
Things that are bothering me, I guess.
Oh.
And bugs is one of them.
Okay. Cool.
I find, for me, watching a bug helps to do both things. Mm-hmm. Where if I feel disconnected, I can watch the way a bug moves and behaves, and I find it helps me to reconnect to the world around me. Mm-hmm. And then also, if I'm really anxious, I'll watch bugs and how they move and function. Cool, yeah. And then I get disconnected from that anxiety and I can refunction again. Nice.
So it kind of works as both. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Not everyone's like that, but I am.
Bugs. They can go both ways. That's cool. I think there are a few things that can go both ways like that, but I never really thought bugs would be, a good example. But that's actually a great example for sure.
Just watch ants. Like, go sit somewhere outside and watch ants. Mm-hmm. You'll get so wrapped up into
how they move,
how they just
carry stuff and move around,
talk to each other, like go from point A to point B. When they run into an obstacle, you can like see them stop and think.
Yeah, that's super cool.
It's neat.
That's really cool. One thing that helps me personally disconnect and disconnecting is fishing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Do tell.
I can kind of use the same example. Like, I can disconnect from what I'm doing, and every time I go fishing, I just feel so like I'm just in the moment, throwing some rods around, whether I'm catching things, not catching things, like it barely matters half the time. Just when I'm fishing, I'm so in the moment, and I'm like disconnected from any piece of technology that exists. I'm just out there fishing. I can be throwing some casts into the lake from a dock, and I'm just there. I'm just me fishing. I'm disconnected from traffic. I'm disconnected from everything. I'm just in the moment. I'm just fishing. That's it. It's not. It's everything like else. It's like everything else is just It's not there for right now because I'm just fishing. You know what I mean? So I think to me, for I don't know exactly what the aspect of fishing is, But I love fishing so much to the point where, like I said, it's just something so simple, but you got your rod out there, and you're just trying to feel it out, see if you can catch anything depending on where you're at. And the only thing that really matters is throwing in some casts and trying to catch whatever you can.
So is it about catching the fish, or is it just...
It's the challenge of catching the fish, but also the acceptance of if you're in a tough area or they're just not too hot today, like it's not even a big deal. And I think that's the cool thing is that like whether you're having a good time fishing, catching a lot, or you're not catching a lot, you're just fishing, man. And it's just like you're just there, and that's just what you're doing. You're fishing. You just got a rod, you got your favorite tackle, and that's what you're just trying to change it up. Use some tactics to try to pick up a couple fish. And it's just, you're not thinking about an email or whatever. It's like you're disconnected from, you're disconnected from your routine, or you're disconnected from, maybe something that wasn't going the best. And it's all good. It's just it's just you fishing. And for me, I find that when I want to get disconnected from creative projects or I need a break or something, like even just going for a walk and throwing in some casts, we have a few spots not too far away. Like I did that the other day and it's great. Yeah. I'm just there throwing in some casts, trying to see what's going on that day and nothing else. It's like, my creative projects are on pause. Everything is on pause while I'm fishing. And it's like, and it's super cool. And I think that, to me is what works really good. And I know, like, it's so different for everyone. But for me, just to get a rod in my hand and throw some cast in, it's the simplest thing. It's not like it's complicated. Yeah. And then if you catch something, it's just like, sweet. But if you don't, it's all good too. But at the same time, I just love the aspect of trying to go catch some fish. Like it's just
funny because
it's so like it feels so tribal. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
It's just like something that humans had to do forever,
especially
and ever.
For men. Like I think maybe that's why men.
Maybe.
And I'm not saying all men. Or masculine type people. Because there's a lot of feminine type people too that like fishing.
And it's tied into like survival too. You know what I mean?
What I was going with that thought is, and that whole tribal idea is that's what our ancestors did, right? Like the men would go out fishing to catch fish for dinner. Right? So that's probably deeply ingrained in your DNA somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Is like it feels so tribal.
Is that a little froggy?
When you're going, you can take it if you want.
I want to see him.
Yeah, when you're going out there.
Oh my God! Look at him. He's a frog.
Yeah, it's so like in our ancestors' DNA to just go fishing that it feels like the realest thing you could do sometimes to just disconnect. You literally just go and throw some rods in the water, man.
I think
do a little fishing.
It's for me. I'm not a fisher.
That's fine. That's cool.
I've tried it a few times in my life.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't hate it, but I get bored very quickly.
Okay, I can understand that. Yeah. I mean, I think it teaches you patience while you're fishing.
That's probably why I struggle with
it.
And
if you really want to overcome like lack of patience, then fishing is an incredible thing. Because
have you ever caught a fish with this frog?
No.
Our fish are probably too small for this thing.
I have tried to use this frog a few times, and I would love to be able to tell you that the answer... The only time that I've caught something with this frog is if I put a worm on it. Yeah. Because then it's basically just a hook with a worm. If you throw a worm on it, you can catch some bass. But just using the frog, I don't know what it is.
It probably doesn't have a scent to it.
No.
Well, I mean... Your sense of smell is different from a fish.
No, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. We smell the same. We smell exactly the same as fish.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Our nasals are the same.
But I wish I could say that I caught something with this frog. But no, I haven't. Like I said, the only time I can is if I put a worm on it.
Oh, this guy's got a little spinning.
If I put a worm on it, then I can kind of try to catch some.
Okay, now that we're on like this subject of fish and staring at your tackle box, now I have
It's my
questions.
territory. Yeah, bring it
I
on.
have questions.
You want to talk about tackle?
We're going to talk about tackle.
I can
We're
talk
going to tackle the tackle.
I can tackle some tackle.
Why does this have 2 hooks on it? Like, that seems like a really stupid fucking question, but I just feel like if a fish went to go eat this, it would get both of these hooks in its mouth, and it would be such a pain in the ass to try and take it out of the fish.
It is a pain in the ass. It's easier to catch fish because you got 2 hooks, and depending on where they hit, they might get 1, they might get 2, whatever. But by the time that they get up from the water, most of the time both hooks are in them. So trying to get them out sometimes, if they swallowed it right on, is tricky because you're prying it and you're trying to get it out.
Yeah, the fish is going to try and bite you. And...
Yeah, there's a reason if you watch the fishing shows that they do a lot of edits. Sometimes it's like, we got a big one, and then they bring it on, and then all of a sudden it's like the fish is off because that might have taken like 5-10 minutes, depending on if there's 3 hooks or 4 hooks.
Right.
And then they're holding the fish up. They're like, we got it. And it's like the fish just popped off. Like, sometimes it does. Sometimes it's easy to get the fish off. But other times it's the complete opposite. The hook can be down their throat. It can be sideways. It's just like, whoa. So sometimes, yeah. And I love the fishing shows that people have done over time.
I actually used to like watching those too. Like
they're super fun to watch. Oh yeah, River Monsters.
River Monsters is awesome.
It's weird. I wouldn't even consider that a fishing show, but
it's totally a fishing show. He goes fishing.
He goes fishing. Yeah, he goes fishing.
He goes fishing.
It's weird though. I wouldn't define that as a fishing show.
What would you define it as?
Like an adventure kind of show. Because he's going to search for the river monsters.
Yeah, it's both.
It's like an adventure.
It's adventure. Show. It's fishing, and it's history. Really.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
For anthropology, probably.
But yeah, I mean, like, if you look at this one, it has 3. Well, now they're all just like a smorgasbord.
That's dangerous.
But I have like a blue one, and then I have some.
I love the way tackle looks.
Rats.
I wish I liked fishing.
I got some ones with shakers in them, so they shake in the water.
Ooh, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, so they're making a little noise out there. Those ones seem to be pretty effective.
Yeah, because fish function off vibration.
Yeah, so the ones with the rattlers are pretty effective. They do work. I find
it's all about knowing behavior.
This one has a rattle in it.
Oh yeah.
This one has a rattle and a little spinner. This one's been,
I know.
You can see all the bite marks.
Yeah.
You can actually see the bite marks.
And it looks pretty reflective too, which would work.
This one's pretty good. I've caught.
See, I like watching people fish. That helps me disconnect. Like when I'm in the boat with you, for example, and I'm watching you fish.
Exactly. It's cool,
that
man.
chills me out. I just get bored when I'm actually doing it.
That's fair. And then in the bottom, I basically just have some bobbers, if that's your style thing. But I didn't want to get too much into my tackle itself. I just kind of wanted to point out that fishing helps me. Oh, now we're in it though, so might as well just go. So we got some worms.
Oh, that's what this is supposed.
This is like a fake worm.
This is a fake fish.
So this is a fake
This is disgusting.
This is a fake fish. You don't like that?
I don't know. It grosses me out.
There's like squirty smells that you can put on on
that
tackle,
makes sense.
And it makes it smell like,
oh my god, I didn't know that
stuff.
That's genius.
And these ones that I won't lift up are like little mini minnows.
Okay.
They're basically the same thing as this. And yeah, you can kind of like.
Yeah, we derailed.
That's okay.
We tend to do that.
That's okay. We were talking about fishing tackle. You're interested in what's in my box.
Well, you're always looking in my box, so I gotta look in yours once in a while. Oh, you left me.
No.
I got too dirty.
That was actually hilarious.
Oops,
I like that.
Yours fell down.
I like that. Dirty like this tackle because this tackle box is old.
It looks old.
This tackle box is actually the one that I had, growing up, and I've changed what's in it over time. But this exact green box hasn't changed. It's crazy. Most people that have tackle boxes have a lot of the same stories. Huh. They've had the same tackle box.
Like I've heard
for
stories
years,
of like dads passing down their tackle boxes.
They don't really break. They're just plastic unless you like drop it weird.
Well, some of them are metal, probably.
Some of them are metal, yeah, for sure. Some this one is this one's been dropped and smashed and it's still fine. Like I don't know.
What the
Looks
fuck
like it was
is
made.
this supposed
Looks like
to
it was
be?
made in the 70s, but it probably wasn't because it was
It's probably made in the 90s.
90s. I would say, yeah, that's probably about right. But yeah, I mean, while I'm out there fishing, man, I'm telling you, even looking at my tackle box, I like, it's just trying to figure out what's working, and I think ultimately that's what's cool for me is to try to figure out how you're going to catch that fish. Mm-hmm. You got all these options, and depending on where you are, the one thing that worked at one spot one day is not going to work at the different spot the next day.
That's fair.
So you have to feel it out, and that's the cool thing, You can even go to the same spot and arguably have difficulties with the same technique that you used the other day. It's really weird.
Because there's other factors at play, right?
Yeah, there's so many factors at play.
So, that makes sense.
But it's like video games, When you're playing a video game, some days you can be super good, and then the next day you play it the same way, and then all of a sudden you're like sucking or something.
And this video game, I think I've talked about my story with this video game before. Mm-hmm. And this thing is a bugger. Yeah. And if you've never played this game, it is the biggest challenge on the planet because you can't save it.
Yeah. They made video games that you can't save. It's a wild thing.
So what else helps you disconnect besides your fishing?
A nice cold glass of scotch.
Yes. I concur.
A nice cold glass of scotch.
I have not had much scotch in my life because it is very pricey, but I have had a nice tall, short, cold glass of scotch.
Oh, there you go.
And it's wonderful.
It really helps you disconnect.
I had a sip once of someone's scotch that was, I don't even remember what he paid for it. It was something stupid. It was like $80 for like a shot.
For one?
A shot.
Woo!
I think he got a double.
This is high rolling.
Yeah, he just had a moment. You know when you have those moments when you just want to be a baller and you're like, yeah, I'm going to pay $80 for scotch because I want to.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's why life is very
best scotch. Random. Have no idea what it was, but oh man, she was smooth.
Yeah. The night was just chipper.
It was chipper.
Chipper after that.
It was a good time.
That's a chipper night.
Yeah.
You're just chipping it in.
That was before.
Chipper.
Was that before or after? Anyway, Green Day concert.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah. So disconnecting with a couple of cold ones is a cool way to just relax.
Yep.
Disconnecting. To me, I find a lot of people I think would probably answer books as a way to disconnect, like reading books.
Probably.
But I can't personally say that.
Me neither. I'm a big reader. Well,
me too, but I find like when I'm reading, it takes a lot of my focus.
Me too.
And I can't, I'm not saying that I'm disconnected while I'm reading because it's taken up a lot of my focus.
It's easy to distract me while I'm reading. Now, when I was a teenager, it was different. It was weird. When I was a teenager, I could just sit and read a book in the middle of class and completely block out everything that was going on around me.
Fair. It's weird how you change when you grow up.
Yeah, I can't do that now.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. And I think, like, that's the coolest thing is that, what works for you might change too. I mean, I don't think I'll ever change with fishing. It's a pretty good staple that kind of works for me. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, something else might happen, or I might learn something else, or, I might get into karate. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like,
you're going to turn into Elvis?
Yeah. But I don't know, I might want to learn something new, or I might, start taking up flight lessons. No, I doubt that.
Probably not.
No, I don't think I'll take up flight lessons.
Maybe like model planes.
Maybe model planes, yeah. I've always kind of wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say that you're disconnecting when you're learning something new. I feel like
I think you are, though, in a way.
Maybe.
You're disconnecting from routine. You're disconnecting from what you already know. Because you're learning something, usually you're really involved in it. So you're disconnecting from your phone. You're disconnecting from friends for a little while, from family.
I guess, and you're trying something new. So you're disconnecting from... This is what I'm saying.
Whoa! Woo! That was a... thing. Excuse me while I reconfigure myself here. Or just put these little guys come
And
from?
cue the like
Allergies.
Cue
folks.
the thing that goes do 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 do.
Allergies are real right now. Woo!
They're pretty crazy. Like I'm coughing a bit.
Yeah,
and,
you're
I'm
coffee.
kind of like got a phlegmy thing going
You're
on.
coffee. You know what's funny though is I did read when we were going through the zombie virus that your symptoms can come back like spontaneously, like after you're getting over it. Like they'll
I've been disconnected for so long that I never want to see it again.
I know. They'll just like show up out of nowhere, so maybe that's what's going on with you.
Jesus.
It's probably allergies.
Let's just stick with that. Yeah. But yeah, I really think that, you know, people need to figure out how to disconnect. People need to figure out, you know, what works for them. Well, when it comes to disconnecting, and I think like
I don't know what that looks like in the camera, but
the straw is
from my side, the straw is in his mouth, and it looks really funny.
Nice, it landed right in his mouth.
That's fabulous.
Oh my god, I don't even know what
Thirsty raptor.
I don't even know what I was saying. I think I was going into a spiel. Or
I don't know what happened, but I got distracted.
I was spieling there. I was spieling something. And then, yeah. I know. I was trying to spiel something.
Sorry, I interrupted.
I was
you.
going into some deep analogy.
I think it was going to be a deep analogy, and I totally just...
I was going into some sort of deep analogy spiel, and then
Remember
I just...
Punk'd?
No.
Sorry, speaking of that. Derail. Remember Punk'd?
Punk'd, yes.
The show.
The show where that guy went around and...
Ashton
Kutcher, yes. He went around.
I'm name dropping.
And
We're
yeah,
buddies.
whatever. You gotta just name drop when it comes to a show because he's the one that did it. So
Yeah, he did.
that show was entertaining and it was really funny. And sometimes they get like fake cars and move the actual person's car and then drop like whole things on them and just total it. And like the guy would come out or something like, "What is going on?" You know, they would just totally make it. There was a lot of cool skits in there.
There was.
And I don't even know sometimes, like, a lot of them were really well thought out.
Yeah.
Some of them panned out so weird. But I think Punk'd is a show that probably could make a comeback. Like,
probably.
I think you got to bring back some Punk'd.
So...
I think life needs a little Punk'd. Some people out there need to get Punk'd, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, because I feel like we've probably been babbling for a long time.
Mm.
So...
Fair.
Do you want to end it on my final question? About Punk'd?
We're ending it on Punk'd? Wow, okay, sure.
I mean, we could end it on something else, but I feel like we should probably, like...
Wrap it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with the spiel, all I was trying to conclude with the spiel of disconnecting is that everybody has got to figure out their own way to disconnect, to you know, do some disconnecting, and to be disconnected from some things that are, you know, constantly in their life or that they maybe need to let go. I feel like, and I'm working on that all the time.
Same.
You know, I'm working on that. I'm working on that every day.
Yep.
This is a daily thing that
It's been a struggle for me.
I'm trying to figure this out too. So
Yeah.
you know, I'm right there.
So
it's not like I don't have it figured out 100%.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like it's important to
Yeah,
disconnect.
it is important.
Whatever it means to you.
From all kinds of things.
Whatever it means to you. It's
Yep.
different for everybody.
Yep. So, side note, if Punk'd were to make a comeback, who would you want to be the host?
Ashton Kutcher.
Okay, besides Ashton Kutcher.
Mila Kunis.
Really?
Yeah, might as well bring his wife in.
Interesting.
She would probably make a good host.
Maybe.
She would probably kill it.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is she obnoxious enough?
Yeah, she could probably pull it. Have you watched that 70s show?
I don't find her very obnoxious, though.
But I know it's character, but I mean, like...
Even still, I've seen her in other movies and stuff, and
I don't know. So aside from just saying that, let me actually slow down and think who would maybe be good to bring back Punk'd.
The Rock. Because it'd be so unexpected, but I feel like it'd be glorious.
If he started punking people?
Yeah.
Punk'd by The Rock?
I feel like it'd be funny. Yeah.
Okay.
Because he is a funny dude.
Yeah, Kevin Hart could probably do Punk too.
Oh my god, if you put the two of them together.
The Rock and Kevin Hart doing punked on people.
Yeah.
So you got The Rock, you got Kevin Hart, and they're punking people together.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
That sounds like
they could probably punk a lot of people, and they both seem to be pretty clever with the things they can come up with. Mm-hmm. So that would be pretty entertaining to watch. The Rock and Kevin Hart punking people. That could be something super cool, and I feel like that would be really funny.
I think so too.
And it would be interesting to see not only who they would punk, but what they would come up with. Because they're always going back and forth on their little thingy there.
Yeah,
so
they have a thingy.
They have a little thingy there.
Yeah,
whatever.
I feel like it'd be wonderful.
They'd probably just end up punking each other.
That would also be highly entertaining.
And that would probably be super entertaining.
It would be like a competition. Like,
yeah, who's got the best punk?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. But I think, if you're talking about some funny kind of characters that would probably work out with, you got a couple there.
I like it.
Hells yeah.
All right.
Well, we're wrapping it up.
Disconnect.
I'm taking my tackle box
every now and again.
I'm not leaving this here.
No, I'm gonna leave my Super Nintendo game because it's cool. But I'm gonna take Buster.
All right. You can find me by the lake.
You can find me in another dimension.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, it was 56 minutes.
Whoa, that was so, as if we had to end that.
I was like,
that was the episode that felt like it was 5 minutes.
I know, it totally did. I'm like, I feel like we've been talking for a long time.